Hello and welcome back to my channel and to my series where I talk about the themes, characters, lore, story, and even theories of Final Fantasy VII, especially the re-trilogy. Buckle up because this is going to be a big one. Here I will give a spoiler warning, so if you haven't beaten the OG or Rebirth, please come back to this video when you at least know the endings of both. A few months ago I made 2 videos about Tifa and Aerith's friendship, and in the one about Remake, I made a brief comment about how Aerith's yellow lily connects the characters together. I began to think more about it and started to make the connection that in Omni Sephiroth's and Omni Aerith's game of 4D chess, they are both trying to achieve a reunion. The more I've thought about it, the more I've been wanting to make this video. What has stopped me from making this earlier was when I decided back in January to not talk about the LTD for a while. The flower poses a bit of a problem because it is used to fuel this debate. So I'm going to address that here before I officially start the topic of today's video. While the yellow lily does have a bit of romantic meaning, I'm not going to focus on that much in this video. As a result, I'm going to try to not let my bias get in the way and instead focus on what the flower symbolizes regarding the overarching plot of the game. So I want to ask all of you to focus on that too. Please don't debate the LTD in the comments. Instead, let's focus on the deeper topics and plots that I will bring up in this video. Finally, I'm going to be operating under my own personal theories of what I think is going on in these games. Keep in mind that we still don't have part 3 and don't have all the answers. I'm aware that everyone has different interpretations and different theories of what the hell is going on. So if you disagree with mine, that's fine as long as you do so respectfully. Theory crafting is meant to be fun, and I don't mind if I end up being wrong. There's so much to these games with a lot of red herrings and subversions that it's easy to come up with different theories. We could all be right, and we could all be wrong. We just have to see where this goes in part 3. If you're open to sharing your theories in the comments, I always love reading those, even when I disagree. Let's just have fun with this. And with all those huge disclaimers out of the way, let's really begin since this will be a big one. For the sake of organization, I'm going to go over Aerith's reunion until the Temple of the Ancients. Then I'll go over Sephiroth's until then. After that, I'll talk about those final chapters of Rebirth as a whole. In the first shot of Rebirth, Aerith is staring at the Mako pipe while carrying a basket of her yellow lilies. She suddenly gets up and runs into the street where someone bumps into her. Some of the flowers fall out of the basket and the yellow lily gets trampled on. Already we're seeing symbolism of how regular people are unaware of the damage to the planet that they are contributing to and how this conflicts with Aerith's reunion. She delicately picks up the flower, holds it close to her body, and then looks up the sky she fears. I'll talk about the sky more in another video. After bombing Reactor 1, Cloud is trying to evade the guards to get on the train in Sector 8 when he finds Aerith fighting with invisible enemies. Sephiroth touches her shoulder, causing Cloud to glitch and time to stop. He says, "You're too weak to save anyone, not even yourself." Already we're seeing some foreshadowing, but also he stands as a direct obstacle to their reunion. Sephi disappears and time snaps back to normal. Aerith asks if he's okay and then offers him a flower for scaring the things away. Cloud is confused, so she instead says it's a memento. I have him ask how much, because I don't want him to be an asshole, and she gives it to him for free. In the English version, she says that lovers give these when they're reunited. In the original Japanese, she just says that it symbolizes reunion. And here's the thing about flowers. I actually have a book about flowers and their meanings, since that fascinates me. Flowers and their meanings can change depending on the context and even the color, which is the thing about symbolism in general. It's up to interpretation. So I do think there can be romantic connotations to this flower, but like I said, I'm going to try to not focus on that aspect of the flower much in this video. So for the sake of argument, let's just talk about the reunion meaning of the flower. She sticks the flower in his suspenders. He warns her that he's involved in dangerous things, so she should stay away. She responds playfully and tells him to relax. He tells her that a reactor blew up and she should go when the things come back. She touches him and he sees the whispers. The infantry comes, so she flees, taking the whispers with her. When Cloud finds Tifa waiting for him on the steps of 7th Heaven, she asks him where he got the flower, since she can't remember the last time she saw a real one. In response, he gives it to her. She looks down with a sweet smile and asks him when he got so thoughtful. He says, "A guy can change. It has been 5 years." She says, "Huh?" I'll talk about that in another video. To set aside shipping, I want to talk here about how Tifa is involved in Aerith's reunion. She's an important part of it, not only because she becomes a dear friend to Aerith, but she's also the heroine of the internal conflict. Once Cloud will lose his mind, she's going to help him piece it back together and find his real self in the livestream sequence. Once that happens, Sephiroth's plan will be cooked. At least Omni Aerith is aware of this, and maybe Remake Aerith is too before the Whispers take that away. While Cloud falls after defeating the Airbuster, falling petals surround him in a void of white. In Advent Children, this white space is the livestream, and I'm going to bring up this white space a lot in this video. Then we see the famous scene of Cloud telling himself that back then he got by with only scraped knees, which is a reference to the incident on Mount Ebal. He coaxes Cloud into focusing on himself until he touches his shoulder. Cloud hears a voice saying, "Hello!" The world turns black and he asks, "Who are you?" Then Sephiroth says, "I am your everything." Cloud gasps. I believe that they're at the edge of creation here, either literally or in Cloud's mind. I think it's both, but that might change as I find more details and evidence. For the sake of the video, I will say that Cloud is the key to both reunions, and Sephiroth is actively trying to manipulate him. I will go over this a lot during the Sephiroth portion of the video. He hears Aerith's voice, which wakes him up, but before he does, Sephi says, "Oh Cloud, there's still so much to be done." He wakes up in Aerith's church on the flowers. Here they officially meet. When he doesn't remember their initial encounter, she reminds him of the flowers and tells him that lucky for him, he fell into the flower bed. He apologizes and she says it's okay. They're a lot tougher than they look and the church has power. She's right. The planet and the life stream are resilient like the flower, but they need help. There's more from this meeting to analyze, but that's for another video. Reno comes in. She asks Cloud to be her bodyguard. They escape. He escorts her home, but is stopped on the way to get flowers for the Leaf House. She asks him what his favorite flower is. He says that they're all the same to him, so she asks him if he gave away the flower that she gave him. He admits it, so she giddily asks him to whom. He says he doesn't recall, so she says, "I thought you didn't like lying." I bring this up because she gets her answer later, and I will talk about that. Later that day, when they return to her house, she asks him to wait, runs to the lilies, and then asks him to come. She talks to them and explains to Cloud that she has a feeling that it won't be long until the flowers have something to say, something they need to share with them. But before they can, a final step needs to be taken, or else they won't hear them. I think the final step she's talking about is her death, so she can use the livestream to counter Sephiroth. When the play is about to drop, Tifa asks Aerith to find Marlene. I'll make a video about Marlene and specifically talk about when she hugs Aerith. This isn't the video for that, though. After Marlene tells Aerith that she smells like a flower and points to the one Cloud gave Tifa that's in that nice white jar, Aerith smiles and says, "I hope you'll remember it." So this answered her question from earlier in the game. And like I said in my friendship video in Remake, it shows how the flower connects to Cloud and Tifa and Aerith. During the resolution scene, Cloud talks to whomever he has the highest affinity with, but it's always in the field with those flowers. In Tifa's scene, she asks him if he got that flower from Aerith. She knew that there was something off about him giving her a flower. She got curious about it and looked it up and found out that they symbolize reunion. She tried to keep it alive, but now it's gone with the bar and their home. This symbolizes how Shinra gets in the way of their reunion and the live stream because they are using up Mako. In Aerith's scene, it's a dream, and it's pretty widely accepted that it's Livestream Aerith or Omni Aerith. This is made evident by the sky looking like the Livestream. She tries to comfort Cloud about being at the Shinra building. He admits that he's worried about her, and while praying, she tells him that everyone dies eventually, so they need to make the most of the time that they have. Again, this is foreshadowing. He promises to remember that. In response, she tells him that she's glad that she met him, he's made her happy, and she'll always cherish what he's given her. But whatever happens, he can't fall in love with her. Even if he thinks he has, it's not real. He asks if he gets a say in that. She says that morning is coming and it's time for her to go. Cloud promises that he's coming for her. She looks back sadly and says, "If that's what you want, thank you." This scene is very significant because it's foreshadowing her fate, and she's saying goodbye to him here. But it happens on the flowers as a promise of reunion and the live stream someday. I'll talk about the love comment more in a different video, but I will say in this video that it's significant because this is Omni Aerith. This is Aerith that knows the future. When they find Aerith in Hojo's lab and she explains being the last living Cetra, the whispers come while she talks about the threat to the planet and how she's trying to help. She feels lost in a maze, and every step is taking her further away. When the whispers touch her, she loses a part of herself. All of them, the yellow flowers. There's an image of her holding one, and the petals are all falling. I believe that this symbolizes how Sephiroth's reunion threatens hers by splitting the live stream like the petals were split. I will go more into this theory later in the video. Then we see the whispers. Tifa pulls her out and promises that they'll find a way out together. In Rebirth, we don't see the yellow lily until right before the date, during a Zack scene actually. Elmira points out to him that the flowers are blooming and that these were always Aerith's favorites. Elmira asks if he thinks that this means she's going to wake up. Zack hopes so. I think that is another example of foreshadowing of her death and her reunion being on track. During No Promises to Keep, when she sings "Till the Day That We Meet Again," the reunion lilies appear around her. The song itself is directed towards everyone she loves, including Ifalna, Elmira, Zack, Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, etc. This is according to Nojima, who wrote the lyrics to the song. It's about how they don't need to make a promise in order to meet again. They will have the reunion in the live stream. The live stream green strands even appear at the end, showing Biggs, Jessie, and Wedge. The reunion applies to them too, of course. During her date, one of the petals falls into Cloud's hand before she releases the live stream energy. A romantic interpretation can be made here, but for the sake of the video, I will say that it's to say that they will meet again. Now let's rewind the clock to talk about Sephiroth's reunion. At Reactor 1, before Cloud can place the bomb, he glitches and sees a black feather. Let's call this a symbol of his reunion, as it usually signals when he appears or when he uses a robe guy to appear. While escaping through Sector 8, Cloud sees a building on fire, which triggers his memory of Nibelheim on fire when he sees the back of Sephiroth in the flames. He slowly turns around, and Cloud glitches back. He turns around only to nearly bump into Sephiroth's chest. He grimaces and grabs for his sword when a building crumbles. Sephiroth walks away, and Cloud slowly follows through his PTSD flashback.
You're not real. You're dead.
I am.
I killed you with my own...
Oh, you need not remind me. It was the crowning moment of our time together. But that was then, and this is now. I have a favor to ask. Our beloved planet is dying. Slowly, silently, painfully. Can you bear to see the planet suffer? Cloud. the planet to die. So many things will be lost. Your hometown that burned so bright. The sound of her voice, pleading for me to spare you. The shiver of her flesh, yielding to cold steel. That which binds us together would be no more, and I would be loath to live in such a world, which is why I must ask you this one favor. Don't worry, it's a simple thing. Run, Cloud. Run away. You have to leave. You have to live.
You bastard! Yeah!
Good, Cloud. Very good. Hold on to that hatred.
What I'll say here is that Sephiroth also wants to save the planet, and to do so he needs to have his reunion happen, and for that he needs Cloud to live. He also needs Cloud to have anger and hatred. Pay attention to that. However, his way is not the way to save the planet, and he has his own ulterior motives. During his first night at Stargazer Heights, Cloud hears a commotion next door and jumps for his sword. We hear wheezing getting louder and louder. Cloud comes in, glitches, and sees Sephiroth again. Cloud reaches for his sword, but the doorway is too small. Sephiroth smirks and comes closer. Cloud falls to the ground while Sephiroth pins him down. He manages to knock him off and grabs for his sword again when Tifa stops him. Sephiroth grabs his ankle and he glitches again and sees a bunch of dudes in black robes. He keeps glitching to a specific one as it slowly grunts, "Reunion." He glitches back to see a robed guy with the number 49 tattooed on his arm. Tifa tells him that his name is Marco and he has some problems, but he's not a bad guy. Marl asks her to check on him from time to time, so she asks him to do the same. While he's with Aerith and the Leaf House kids hideout, another robed guy comes through, scaring the children. The guy collapses, and Cloud inspects him and sees that it's not the same guy, but he looks similar. Aerith notices the number. This time it's the number 2. Cloud doesn't know why they're numbered. The guy grabs his ankle, causing him to glitch. Sephiroth sits up, saying, "The reunion." Standing up, he continues, "Nothing to fear." Cloud glitches back while the robe dude wanders off. Cloud grunts too, so Aerith grabs his hand and nicely tells him to get it together. He asks her if she knows who Sephiroth is. She says that she knows he died in an accident 5 years ago, but Cloud has a feeling that he's somehow still alive. She says, "Oh, right," before saying they should go. In the Shinra building before they rescue Aerith, they're inside the VR sim of Neo Midgar. When it ends, it glitches to show Midgar. At the top of the city, there's a robed guy and the coming of meteor. Tornadoes ravage the city, and the meteor is shown impacting the planet. Robed guys glitch back and forth, and then behind Tifa, turning into Sephiroth. Tifa falls to the ground, and Cloud runs after her. She glitches out, and Sephiroth appears in front of a fallen Barret before glitching out again. Cloud moves until he's back to back with Sephiroth. The camera zooms in on his lips before he says, "Sephiroth." We'll flash back to this scene later. The scene cuts to idiotic Palmer carrying his tea. When he sees the figure, he drops his tea. He is shocked, then says, "No, it possibly couldn't have been." Back to the party, they know that what they saw wasn't a part of the sim. After meeting Red in Hojo's lab, Cloud glitches, seeing Jenova. The elevator reminds him of her tank, so he slowly goes towards it as if he's being drawn to it, saying, "Mother, I have come for you, Jenova." Then he hears Sephiroth saying, "Together we will reclaim our world." Then, "They have come again." When he touches the door, he sees her again and says, "Mother," before falling unconscious. After Aerith tells them about being the last Cetra, they return to the elevator. Before the doors close, a black feather falls to the ground. When Cloud finds Jenova, he glitches again and sees Sephiroth descending. Cloud glitches to him facing her and saying, "Mother, together we will reclaim our world." He glitches to see Tifa and her dead father. Current Tifa touches his shoulder, and then she sees him too. And then the rest of the party can as well. Cloud asks if it's really him. He glitches, grabs his head, and really starts to lose control while approaching him. Sephiroth says, "Don't deny me. Embrace me." Cloud yells, draws his sword, and charges at him. Sephi cuts the path, but Cloud leaps and is blocked by Sephi's Masamune. A touching reunion. Then he parries and Cloud falls down. While Hojo wraps up testing the party, he sees Sephi on his feet carrying a body. He just laughs like a maniac. After going through all of Hojo's tests, the party finds Jenova's body is gone and a purple train has been left. They follow the trail to the president's floor to hear him calling for help while dangling off the edge of the building. They rescue him, he taunts Barrett, and threatens to shoot them, but before he can pull the trigger, Sephi runs him through. Barrett runs after him, so Sephi runs him through, but the whispers come. Sephi walks away and cuts through the whispers. The purple energy surrounds him, and Jenova's skull glitches in and out before he disappears. Then they fight Jenova Dreamweaver. After defeating her, her body appears, but before Cloud reaches her, Sephi appears to take her body, stares at Cloud, and leaves. Cloud sees him outside flying with the body. Cloud runs outside, starts climbing the roof, and when he sees Sephiroth, he yells his name. The whispers stop him from going further. Then he sees another robed dude holding the body. He's the one with the number 2. And he jumps off. After going down the freeway, Cloud spots Sephi right before the toll gate. Then he disappears, leaving a black feather. Going further in, he sees more black feathers. Sephi descends from the sky while the feathers continue to rain. Aerith confronts him and tells him that he's wrong. He responds, "Those with clouded eyes see nothing but shadows. Everything about you is wrong." He looks at Cloud and says, "All born are bound to her. Should this world be unmade, so too shall her children." Cloud says, "The world won't end today, but you will." Sephi asks them to listen to the sounds of the planet. Destiny comes. Then we see Zack facing all the infantrymen, but this time there's whispers. It cuts back to the party. Sephi turns around and cuts through the reality. I think that this is where he splits the live stream. Here I'll just come out and say it. I'm a believer in the theory that the multiple worlds are the live stream being split. As we know, the live stream is made up of memories and emotions of those who have passed on. So I think that's what's going on. I don't think this is a multiverse thing. Purple energy crackles as he looks back to say, "I'm waiting, Cloud." Aerith stops them to make her speech, which I talked about a little bit in my last video. For this one, I want to emphasize her saying that Sephi thinks that he's saving the planet, but his way is wrong. He's deaf to the words and screams of the planet, and he's the greatest threat to it, and they have to stop him, but in the process, they'll not only change fate, but themselves. They go through, and on the other side, Aerith sees a purple miasma in the sky, and it starts tearing through the world. They get carried up above Midgar, and sees whispers congregate into the Harbinger of Destiny. They fight and defeat it, and this plays right into Sephiroth's plans to split the live stream. Then they are taken to a white space. Aerith can answer when Cloud asks where they are. I think it's the live stream white that I brought up earlier. I believe that this is the space between traveling through realities or the different worlds that exist in the live stream. I kind of conceptually think of it as sort of a subway station. It's in like an in-between waiting point, if that makes any sense. Of course, I can be wrong. He hears, "I'm waiting, Cloud." He turns and Aerith goes, "Hmm?" Then they look around as the sky turns orange and then black. Meteor comes and Sephiroth appears in the middle of a purple nucleus. Purple and black tendrils orbit the meteor and it disappears inside the nucleus. Everything is in ruin and a white hole in the sky gets bigger before Sephi in purple swings his blade and the purple disappears. I think that he plans on using the meteor in the different realities to weaken and maybe even destroy the live stream. But this could be me putting on a tinfoil hat. He sends ruined buildings towards them, and then his boss battle begins with the best boss music ever. I honestly go crazy for One-Winged Angel, and usually spend the entire time fighting Sephiroth, geeking out over this theme. Anyway, not important. After the battle, Cloud goes after him, leaping in the air. He slashes down and whispers appear. A ball of light comes, blinding him, and then he goes through wormholes until he meets Sephi at the edge of creation. He glitches and Sephi grabs his wrist. Careful now. That which lies ahead does not yet exist. Cloud recoils back. Our world will become a part of it one day, but I will not end, nor will I have you end.
This is...
The edge of creation. Cloud, lend me your strength. Let us defy destiny together.
Never.
Not yet. Seven seconds till the end. Time enough for you, perhaps. But what will you do with it? Let's see.
He disappears, leaving a black feather. I don't know what 7 seconds till the end means, but what I do know is that Sephi needs Cloud for his goals to defy his destiny in the OG game, which I will explain more about later. At the end, we see that Zack quote-unquote survives, while the Terrier chip bag flashes, signaling a pocket universe, or what I believe to be a split in the livestream. Zack falls and sees light around Midgar. At the final cutscene of Remake, Zack carrying Cloud briefly crosses into the livestream white, showing Cloud and Aerith, and Zack subtly smiles. In Rebirth, the game begins with Cloud's recollection of the Nibelheim incident. I'll make a whole video about that after I play Crisis Core, but for this video, I'll explain that Sephi finds out that he's the son of Genova. We already saw clips of that in Remake 2, especially in Hojo's lab. He was injected with her cells while in utero. He then locks himself in Shinra Manor for a week and goes insane. He comes out, burns down the village, including Cloud's home with his mother inside, which we did see flashbacks of in Remake, kills Tifa's dad, nearly kills Tifa, Then Cloud kills him and throws him into the life stream. Cloud doesn't remember the part where he killed him or what comes next at this point in the story, so I'm going to fill in those blanks. Cloud and Zack are severely injured when Hojo finds them. He experiments on them using Genova's cells, specifically Project S samples. Cloud is declared a failure and is left in a Mako tank for nearly 5 years. Zack wakes up and breaks him out, so Cloud has Genova cells from Project S. I'll make a video about Project G and Project S later. Thus, he's a part of the Genova reunion. Sephi appears in Calm to cast doubts in Cloud about Tifa. I talk about this in my Gongaga video, so please check that one out. In Rebirth, they spend a lot of their time following the robe dudes to find Sephi. This is important because the robe dudes are also people who have been experimented on with Project S cells and Genova cells, and they are Sephiroth clones. They are part of the Genova reunion. In the swamp, Sephiroth appears to defeat the Midgar Summoner. On the Shinra 8, the robe guys grab Genova's arm and say, "It's time for the reunion." Sephi appears and explains Genova's cloning ability to Cloud while rubbing her arm on his face. They fight Genova Emergent here. In Corel, the rogue dudes throw themselves into the Mako pool, and Cloud nearly does as well. In North Corel, Sephi uses a rope dude again to cast doubts about Tifa. At the Gold Saucer, Cloud sees another robe dude. He glitches to see Sephi taunt him and tell him to have fun while he still has time. So here we see him using the robed dudes a lot to appear to manipulate Cloud. At the Gongaga reactor, he succeeds in taking over Cloud for a minute, which nearly gets Tifa killed. He tries to finish the job in the live stream. Again, I talk about this in depth in my Gongaga video. What I'll say here is that Tifa poses a threat to Sephi's reunion plan, because if Cloud regains his memories and his true self, then Sephi will fail. Tifa is central to helping Cloud regain his true self, and that is because she shares most of these memories with Cloud, setting shipping aside. In Cosmo Canyon, after meeting the Gi and learning about the black materia, Cloud glitches, sees a black feather, which erupts, and he's in a gray dimension. He sees Sephi and a lot of feathers, and Cloud knows that Sephiroth wants the black materia. When they land in Nibelheim, Cloud glitches to his younger self, asking Sephi to wait up, who tells him to bring the black materia. He glitches back and draws his sword on a rope dude who's muttering about the black materia. They all surmise that the robed guys are trying to lead them to Nibelheim. To their surprise, Nibelheim has been rebuilt to serve as a Mako poisoning treatment center. The robes are all there for their quote-unquote treatment. When Cloud goes up to the reactor with Tifa and Yuffie, they find the Mako spring, and he says the same thing that Sephi did 5 years ago, which worries Tifa. In Shinra Manor, Cloud finds a tube and glitches. He enters the room, glitches more, and slowly approaches tanks labeled with an S. He touches the middle one, looks inside, and hears Hojo talk about a sample of S tissue, a single strand of S hair, and a few drops of S blood. He glitches more and is about to collapse when Tifa finds him. So he literally was experimented on with Sephiroth cells and is a part of the Genova reunion. Outside, Cloud fights with an experimented on Roche. When defeated, Roche turns into a robe dude. Also, here is where Glenn Lodbrok's live broadcast of the Wutai conflict happens. This is important, and I will circle back to this later in the video. Now we get to the Temple of the Ancients, and I will combine the analysis of Sephiroth's reunion versus Aerith's reunion. But before that, a brief overview of Aerith's reunion, since we just talked at length about Sephiroth's reunion. It's symbolized with the yellow reunion lilies. It's fitting considering her connection to nature and the planet as a Cetra. Her goal is to use the live stream to defeat Sephiroth, save the planet, and for everyone to reunite in the live stream someday. For that to happen, she needs Cloud and the others, and she needs Cloud to regain his true self. She also needs to die, and at least Omni-Aerith knows this. Debatably, Remake Aerith did as well, but the Whispers took that away from her. I'll give an overview of Sephi's goals with his reunion at the very end, since the last chapters of Rebirth tells a lot about this. And this is when I'm going to get more into my tinfoil hat theories. When the party enters the Temple of the Ancients, Hojo knows that Sephi is not far behind. When they enter, they find a robed Roche about to fall. As Cloud catches him, he says, "The black materia, Sephiroth." During their time in the temple, Cloud acts more off and more impatient to find the black materia. Aerith is able to direct lifestream energy here to manipulate the temple structures to progress. In the process, the party gets separated. Cloud prioritizes the black materia in a pretty apathetic way towards the others. He's a big asshole during this chapter. After the Turk battles reunite the party, Cloud glitches again and nearly kills Elena, saying, "Don't be afraid. It's not death. It's a homecoming." Tifa stops him. Barrett says that there's no time for this. Cloud agrees and shoves off Tifa. That shows how far gone he really is at this point. Song gets to the middle and is there with a rope dude. A black feather floats down. Song asks himself if the temple is actually a fortress and if it was built to defend against fiends. Sephiroth appears and says, "Worse, humans." Song draws his gun, but is stabbed by Sephi as he says, "Humans feared and coveted the power of the ancients, and so they slaughtered them." The party comes in. Song slumps to the ground, and Sephi says, "Don't be afraid. It's not death. It's a homecoming. You'll see him soon enough." The last statement seems to be directed at Aerith. Then a gun goes off, and in black and purple smoke, Sephi is gone, and in his place, a robe dude falls down dead. Song directs Aerith to a key that only she can use. Everyone goes through a trial, which I will cover in another video. Afterwards, Aerith makes a speech about how the spirits live on after death and in time give rise to new life. That doesn't make it easier to deal with death. She says that the future can be changed and continues talking about how pain and anger can make them stronger, but she believes that true strength doesn't come from those feelings. It comes from being able to forgive and continue forward trying to make things right. And this is direct opposite from what Sephiroth wants regarding emotions. True strength comes from themselves. She advises them to focus on the future and not the past, and then even Sephiroth won't be able to stop them. Cloud rudely cuts her off and has them keep going. As they continue, he glitches to see the reactor and a black feather. He has the bomb in his hands back at Sector 1. After he places the bomb, Sephi appears to say, "Oh, what fun you had," and asks if it was all worth it. Everything glitches and the reactor is on fire. Sephi says, "All those lives cut short at your hand." Cloud sees Biggs' body. As he reaches for him, it glitches as Sephi asks if what he's feeling is even real. "It's time you stopped pretending, Cloud." Suddenly he's on the pillar. The Whispers and black and purple smoke take Biggs away. Cloud goes up to see Tifa crying over Jessie. "Your friend died in your arms, and yet you didn't shed a tear. Why is that?" The black and purple smoke takes them to and materializes into Sephiroth. "Sorrow, anger, regret, guilt. Nothing but empty words to you, for you are but a puppet, my puppet." Cloud says that he'll kill him. Smoke appears and he runs him through. Sephi hugs him. Good, Cloud. Very good. Fill your hollow heart with rage. Cloud slashes through him, purple and black smoke dissipating. Let it engulf you, consume you, as the flames rage and grow, that you may burn your world to the ground, as I did. Flames fill the screen, and then he's back in the present. A robed dude on the ground disappears in the smoke. Further in the temple, Aerith sees a drawing of the temple and touches it. Green light appears, showing the Cetra fight against humans. The Cetra lore dump, talking about Shinra and their threat to the planet. They talk about Jenova coming from space, then men fearing and envying the Cetra, and how some of that was due to Jenova's manipulation. The Cetra were abandoned to anger and grief. They were driven away and unable to prevent their end. Jenova's fall also created a wound to the planet. Those who tried to fix it faced disaster. Jenova took the image of their lost loved ones and caused chaos within the Cetra and the humans, creating more loss. The Cetra lost their lives in battle. However, Jenova didn't die, but slept. They warned the party of the reunion of Jenova's cells coming together to plague the planet. It's been the duty of the Cetra to protect the planet from threats. And here they talk about the black materia and how they had to hide it because it will summon Meteor. We see a flashback of the sim in the Shinra building of Meteor in sepia tone. All shall perish, yet I shall remain, Sephiroth says as he appears. I, son of Jenova, will at last claim my birthright. My dominion shall reach into affinity, to worlds unbound by fate and histories unwritten. The Cetra combine with Aerith as she confronts him. He says that his mother and the split worlds will be one again. So his reunion is both the reunion of Jenova's cells through the congregation of the robed dudes and Cloud, and the reunion of worlds, or these multiple realities that are in the live stream. Aerith says, the reunion. He wants to unite them forever, but Aerith says that there's no such thing as forever. He insists, she says, with just her voice this time, that he's wrong. He says that their day of reckoning is here, but don't be afraid. It's a homecoming. He disappears, leaving black feathers, and they fight the demon gate. After the battle, Cloud loses it on the door, and when he's able to get to the pedestal with the materia on it, he laughs like a maniac. He has a creepy smile on his face as he grabs it. Kate starts coming to sacrifice his body to keep the temple from falling down to give the party time to escape. Back to the party, Cloud is unaffected by the place coming down. Barrett fights with him to return the materia, but Aerith says that there's no point fighting over a fake. Cloud stops in his tracks and accuses her of trying to fool him. Red returns it, but it's too late. Kate comes in just in time for them to escape, but they take a long ass time talking about it. The building's coming down, get the fuck out of there. Cloud surreptitiously takes the black materia. The temple collapses in black smoke, lightning crackling through. Barrett takes the black materia from Cloud, and like a child, he says, "Hey, that's mine!" So Barrett throws it. It hits Sephi's boot, and he takes it. Cloud alerts the party to his presence. Sephi says that this materia is the key that grants the counterpart hidden between worlds. Aerith tries to get it, so he rises to the sky and holds it up. Black, red, and purple energy erupts out with black whispers. Cloud remarks that it's the black materia. I think that here Sephi just pulled out the real thing somewhere in the live stream. Perhaps in one of the white live stream areas. He creates black vines and tells Cloud to come. He slowly does while losing control. When he comes closer, Sephi drops the black materia. Cloud frantically grabs it as if he's fucking Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Sephi asks him to bring it to him. He's about to when Tifa stops him. Aerith picks it up and he goes after her. Tifa tries to stop him, but Sephi has control, so Cloud shoves her aside. While he goes after Aerith, his eyes are glazed over. His voice sounds different and very creepy. He keeps laughing and is clearly not himself. And Cody really goes above and beyond in his voice acting performance here. It's really impressive.
You can trust me. Let's save the planet together. Aerith!
Like, it gives me chills. She has nowhere left to go and has no choice but to give it to him. She says that no matter what, she's there for him. He gives the black materia to Sephi. Then, as Aerith fights whispers, he remembers their first meeting and snaps out of it. A whisper knocks her off, but he catches her at the edge. Then a black feather comes down before Sephi cuts the branch, and they fall down together and wake up in one of the pocket realities, which I believe is a split in the live stream. In this universe, the NPCs are acting weird, are zen, and self-aware that their world is dying. At one point, Aerith sees black feathers and hears Sephi say, "So this is where you've been hiding, in a world that's accepted its fate, just as you must." I believe that this Aerith is actually Omni Aerith, hiding from Omni Sephiroth, using that comatose Aerith in a pocket reality or area in the live stream where people aren't losing it in panic, anger, and grief. And Sephi wants people to be losing it in panic, anger, and grief. Later, an NPC remarks that Cloud and Aerith look like they're at a funeral. And this is foreshadowing. Cloud knows that she's acting strange, so she says that she'll explain at their spot. Before they're at their spot, it cuts to Zack, who is waiting in front of the church, but is stopped by Sephiroth before he enters. So I believe that this Zack, since Zack keeps going to the different realities, was in the same pocket reality as Cloud and Aerith, because we're seeing Sephiroth enter the church. So close yet so far, poor Zack. Sephiroth splits reality with his sword, which makes Zack fall into the live stream white. Aerith's reunion lily petals surround him. One falls into his hand before floating away. Zack says, "I'll find a way." He leaps off and fades out. And I want to say here, to me, this definitely means that Zack is a big part of Aerith's reunion plan in the re-trilogy. Inside the church, Cloud and Aerith go to the flowers. Then it's the whole speech about liking, which I won't go into in this video. There are petals on the floor though. She hugs him and tells him to not blame himself for whatever happens. She's telling him to forgive himself like she does in Advent Children. But she's also saying goodbye in front of the flowers that symbolize reunion. So while this is a sad scene, it is full of hope because her reunion is going to happen. She thanks him, takes out her white materia, gives it to him, and says that this is about saving the world and him. By the way, I'll make a video talking about the white, black, and clear materias sometime soon, and I will go over it in detail. The rainbow and white energy emanates from her. She thanks him for everything and pushes him into the live stream portal in the flower bed, right where he fell in the first game. As the camera shows Sephiroth opening the church doors, and this is why I think Zack was in their reality right before. As he's falling, he gets hit by whispers in the live stream white. Sephiroth appears with purple energy, and Cloud is taken through rainbow splintered wormholes and sees many different scenes. Sephi says that when the boundaries of fate are breached, new worlds are born. He sees Zack. The planet encompasses a multitude of worlds in the live stream. So it's pretty much stated here. Some die quickly, some hang on, but even the most resilient ones are doomed to fade. Their loss isn't to be mourned. It's not a death, but a homecoming that awaits them. All life is one to the planet, So basically, these splintered realities are all meant to end. They're all meant to die. Sephi's words from Remake and that scene gets shown. Aerith's speech is also shown. 2 purple to white / rainbow circles become one and they go through it. Sephi tells him to listen to the planet to her ecstatic cries. Cloud contradicts him, saying that it's screaming. Sephi says that he thought that he'd finally understand. Then, Cloud, lend me your strength. And we see from Remake, 7 seconds till the end. Then he tells him to let go of the past. Similar advice that Aerith gave. For the future is bright because they will see the reunion of worlds. He sees the same thing he saw in Remake of all the rogue dudes. But the one that he kept glitching to in the first game, saying reunion, is actually himself, Cloud. He asks to be left out of the reunion. Sephi calls him stubborn and says he needs a little push. He laughs and Cloud cuts through him. I give you my blessing. He goes through wormholes until he reaches the sleeping forest. Sephi says that the white materia doesn't belong there. He appears and says, very poor form. Before finding Aerith, Cloud fights through whispers. Then a black feather falls down. He tells her that Sephi is here, but she tells him to forget about him for now and to focus on himself. Cloud insists that he's fine, but she shakes her head sadly. Focus on you, the one I've been trying to find, the real you. Black feathers continue to rain down. She asks him to leave Sephiroth to her. She won't let him use the black materia, and he has to be stopped by Etc. And she's the last. He gives her the white materia. She gives him the clear one, thanks him, and says that the clear one belongs to him now. And I will cover that in the materia video. She wanders off, and Cloud tries to reach her, but is slowed down by white whispers until he comes to in the main reality. There, he finds out that Aerith went ahead to the Forgotten Capital. Before entering, Cloud hears, I'm waiting, Cloud. Black feathers surround the party, and the sky turns red, and a purple nucleus appears in the sky with Sephiroth at the center. He swings his blade, creating darkness. He tells Aerith to pray while he splits the sky. It's upon us, the reunion, when worlds merge, when spite and sorrow are harvested to feed the planet. There we have it. Sephiroth here is uniting the worlds at the Forgotten Capital. I'll explain my theory of why in a minute. Lifestream energy comes out, so does the black tendrils. Sephi disappears and we see another black feather. Another whisper wall stops them from getting to Aerith. Light comes through and the party keeps it open for Cloud to get through. He fights through whispers to get to the praying Aerith. The whispers try to get him to kill her and he resists. Feathers come down as she opens her eyes. Sephi comes from above to kebab her and Cloud, quote unquote, blocks him. There's a rainbow effect here. When he parries, a black feather falls. Everything glitches to show blood on the sword and blood coming out of Aerith. She falls, white materia falling into the water. Cloud holds Aerith while Sephi laughs. Cloud glitches and we see him mouthing words. Sephi tells him not to cry because his tears are empty, and so is he. He slashes his sword. I think that he unified the quote-unquote worlds here. If Cloud saved her, it doesn't matter. I think, though, that he repressed her death and replaced it with his fan fiction of being the hero and saving her because he can't cope with failing to save the people he cares about. He did this with Zack's death, too. He repressed it. And it all comes to the Mount Nebel incident where he failed to save Tifa from falling down it. Another video. But also, I think that Sephi's goal was to kill Omni Aerith too, who was hiding in one of the pocket realities in the live stream. And here he was unifying the worlds or unifying the splits in the live stream to kill our Aerith. and to try to kill Omni Aerith at the same time. I think that he failed to kill Omni Aerith because we see her fight with Cloud in the final battle, and there's some dialogue that suggests this theory. More on that later. The party arrives. Barrett is angry, saying he'll kill Sephiroth. Tifa is crying and running towards Aerith. She sees the glitches, and I think that it's because she's been in the live stream. And so it begins. A confluence of worlds and emotions, loss chief among them. It engulfs moments of joy, transforming them into rage, sadness, hatred. Everyone grimaces. Never have I felt them so keenly. So here's where I need to explain this. At various points that I have pointed out in this video especially, Sephiroth talks at length about anger, hatred, sadness, grief, etc. All the negative emotions, all the negative feelings. The Cetra explained that Jenova capitalized on those feelings too, to create chaos. I think that Sephiroth and Jenova are trying to farm these emotions to corrupt the livestream or the worlds so that Aerith can't use it to defeat them. I think it's possible that he's even trying to destroy the livestream, but that's my tinfoil hat theory. He split them in the first game so that they were dying, so that the people in these realities would feel these negative emotions. And here, he's unified the realities while the party was feeling these things because of the death of Aerith. Of course I could be wrong though, and that's why this is just a theory for now. Cloud says, "I got this," to Aerith. There's white and rainbow livestream energy. Sephi says, "However, you'll never see the truth with such clouded eyes." And if you recall in the remake, he says something very similar to this. And clearly this is directed at Cloud, who is the only one who thinks that Aerith is still alive. Cloud says, "Shut up," and uses his sword. Sephi laughs and rises to the sky. "After all, you're just a puppet." He closes his fist, purple and black energy comes out, and Jenova Life Clinger appears. Everyone has a limit break right off the bat except Cloud. It's the negative emotions. Before Cloud and Zack face off Sephiroth together, Zack finds his way into the livestream white and finds Cloud there. He touches him and is thrown into the battle. At the end, Sephi says, "Just as worlds unite, so too do they part." He slashes his sword and Zack falls, rainbow surrounding him. Zack tells Cloud to save her. And I think he says that because he doesn't know that our Aerith is already dead. Then Zack is sent to the flowers at the church before he fights Sephiroth Reborn. Aerith also heals him. I think that there's even a flower beneath his feet during the battle, so she's also helping him. In the last Sephiroth battle at the Edge of Creation, what I believe is Omni Aerith comes in with the rainbow to white livestream travel energy to reunite with him and fight Sephiroth. Sephi tells her that he underestimated her. This is why I think he was trying to kill Omni Aerith, but failed. She also thanks Cloud for what he did earlier. And I think she's thanking him for trying to save her. Sephi asks him if it's real or a fever dream. Cloud says that that shit won't work on him anymore, and Sephi just laughs. Because Cloud is actually in the palm of his hand. Aerith asks Sephiroth why he would want this. Sephi tells her to be gone because her part has been played. She asks him how can he want an eternity of loneliness? And this is a statement that makes me believe that he's trying to destroy the live stream. When the battle ends, Sephi flies into the sky and laughs. Cloud asks why he's laughing, and Aerith answers that he knows that this isn't over. White whispers surround them. They go into livestream white, and Aerith fades in green energy. At the end, Zack is back at her church looking at her flowers. He quotes Sephiroth, "Just as worlds unite, so too do they part." Then he says, "But who's to say they can't unite again?" There's a lot of theories about him coming to the party briefly in part 3. And I think so too. We will see. I will say that the goal is to reunite the live stream and for all the people that Aerith loves to reunite there someday. And I believe that Zack is actually dead. And I believe that this will lead up to him and Aerith meeting again in the live stream. Before the final cutscene, Glenn appears to Rufus. Rufus figures out that Glenn and the Wutai War was just a ploy to distract him from Sephiroth. Glenn claps and glitches back and forth between Glenn and Sephiroth. Turns out that Sephi was using the cloning ability and cosplaying as Glenn, who is actually dead. He says that the plan is already in motion. Our promised land will become reality. Rufus shoots Glenn, revealing a robe dude. I think that Sephiroth isn't just using the Wutai War to distract Rufus. I think he's also using that to farm more hate, loss, death, etc. for his goals with the reunion. And recall what the Cetra said, that Genova stirred things up, stirred the pot between Cetra and the humans and caused a war. I think Sephiroth is using similar tactics here to farm all these negative emotions. In Nibelheim, the robes are leaving en masse. This is set up for the Northern Crater with the Genova reunion and Sephiroth's body. Finally, we get to the final cutscene. Cloud finds the black materia in his pocket. He glitches, says the reunion, and then puts it in his Buster Sword. Then he somehow knows that Sephi is up north. Cloud basically tells the party, "Trust me, bro." The party is skeptical but chooses to follow him. Tifa is especially worried but also very depressed. There's interactions with Aerith, which I will talk about in another video. For this video, I will talk about the last shot. I believe that the Aerith in this shot is Omni Aerith standing in the field saying goodbye to the party. We see her reunion flowers as no promises to keep plays. It ends with this hopeful note that Aerith's reunion is going to happen. Some final thoughts before I end this ridiculously long video. And I'll try to be as brief as possible since this is a really big video. We know that Aerith's goal is for everyone to meet again in the live stream after they've saved the planet from Sephiroth. I think that Sephiroth's goal is to unite the Genova cells and to farm negative emotions in the live stream and the main reality to either weaken the live stream or destroy it. I think he's going to use the meteor in the live stream and on the planet while uniting the worlds at the Northern Crater. And I acknowledge that I might be wrong about that, so please take this with a grain of salt. For Aerith to achieve her goal, she needs Cloud to find his real self. Tifa is pretty central to making this happen. Aerith also needed to die so she can use the live stream to stop Sephiroth. For Sephiroth to achieve his goal, he needs Cloud to live, but also lose himself and become a true puppet. In order for that to happen, he needs to drive Cloud to insanity. I think that he's been really successful with that. Cloud is at his most crazy so far, with thinking that Aerith is still alive and with carrying the black materia in his sword. Sephiroth already succeeded in taking over Cloud at the Temple of the Ancients. What lies ahead is the Northern Crater, which is where I think Sephiroth is not only going to reveal that the soldier in Nibelheim was Zack, but also reveal that Aerith is actually dead. This is the push he was talking about. Then Cloud will lose his mind completely and give the black materia to Sephi's real body. I think that the reunion of worlds will happen again here so that he can summon Meteor to hit the world and the worlds in the live stream at the same time. But again, I could be wrong. We have to see in part 3. But we will have the live stream sequence after and be on track for the good ending. I'm excited to see how it will all happen in part 3 and see where I'm right and where I'm wrong. And with that, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like. Please also comment with your theories of what's going on. Even if you disagree with mine, just please do so respectfully. I'm open to seeing information that challenges what I think, and I think it's important to have an open mind, especially since we all don't know exactly what the devs have in mind for part 3. Also, This is a reminder to please be kind to each other in the comments. I will be monitoring this like normal. Also, please don't make anything about the LTD. I was very careful about that in this video, so I ask that you all do the same. I think we have a lot bigger stuff to talk about in this video anyway, and shit that's way more interesting. Finally, please subscribe if you haven't yet, since I will continue to make content about this beloved compilation. And with that, I'm off. Thanks for watching. Bye!